Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 15th, 2023, and it's time to harvest the garlic. So this year we planted the garlic here in our eastern garden plot. Only a couple rows, one row with, permanent raised bed with 3 rows of garlic in it. The garlic is looking good. The tips are starting to turn brown of it. We've got 1, 2, 3 leaves that are browning, so those are wraps. That leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 wraps that make the wraps on the garlic bulbs themselves. So I turned off the drip irrigation yesterday, so it didn't get any drip irrigation last night, but we are calling for some more rain. So this is one of those touchy times where you really don't want to have them sitting out here too long. Today the temperature will probably get up a little bit over 88 degrees Fahrenheit. It is high humidity here as well. I did a lot of transplant this morning of other blackberry plants and working in the West Garden plot, getting those beds, getting the weeding done like we did all day yesterday. But now after breakfast, before things get any hotter, it's time to harvest the garlic. So what I'm going to do is dig them up. I got a small fork here that I'll use to help to loosen up the soil. I've got Optimus Maximus, the Kubota Grand L6060 tractor, and we'll put the garlic into the tractor bucket. One of the things with the garlic is the important things is harvesting it before the plant gets too old, harvesting when the soil is when the soil isn't too moist, and starting the curing process. And depending on where you are, it can be pretty tough. A lot of times you'll take the garlic and let it set out in the field for a day. One of the things I would say is that won't work here very well, because if we're going to have the rain on it, we really want the garlic to start to dry out, get some of the soil off of the roots of it as well. I'm going to leave the entire plant intact. I'm going to put it on our curing racks that are out in the sugar shack. So I'll just bang off a little bit of the soil that's in the roots. I'm not going to trim the roots. I'm not going to trim the plant at all. And it's going to need some time in the sugar shack. Now the sugar shack will open up the windows and turn on a fan. They'll be in all the drying racks, and we need good ventilation, not in direct sun, and we need it pretty warm for about 2 weeks time. And that will allow the wraps to crispen up and seal, tighten right up where the stem comes out of the garlic. That should be really nice and tight. When I cut the garlic, when I cut the roots off, and when I cut the stem of the garlic off, we really want that core to be nice and solid in there, and nice tight wraps. One wrap will get partially wrapped off when we do clean it, but we don't clean them before putting them into to cure. Once they're cured, then we trim them appropriately, and then they'll go down into the root cellar in the dehumidified area of the root cellar. So it'll be stay nice and cool with a relatively low humidity level, and that's important. It can be challenging curing the garlic on super hot days, on high humidity days. Or sometimes people have got to do it in their high tunnels, and you want to put a tarp over it or something and have lots of good ventilation with it at the same time, just so that the garlic doesn't get too hot. And all over the country with these heat waves and all, it can be a real challenge. Fortunately, the sugar shack is built into the forest area, so that's going to stay pretty cool in there. We'll have the windows open, and I'll have a big fan going on it. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get these things out of the ground and put them into Optimus. So here we go. Okay, got a bit of a change in plans, but I did get the garlic out. Soil is absolutely beautiful here. Really pays to build your beds and have your cover crops in. That has really worked out beautifully. So got all the garlic out of here. But I decided instead of taking the garlic right out back and putting it in a sugar shack right away using Optimus Maximus here, I decided, since it is a little breezy, it's calmed down right now, and it's in the lower 80s right now, but I think it's only going to get a high of 88 today. It is pretty humid, but there was so much soil clumped onto the garlic roots here. I got the bulk of it out, ripped a lot of the roots out by, just by shaking them and all. But you can still see there's quite a bit of soil on them. So I thought what I'd do is let them rest here in the strawberry bed. And let them set throughout some of the day here today and wick off some of the moisture from the soil that's on there. And then I won't rub them, but I may just brush them off ever so gently, because I don't want to damage the wraps. Each one of these wraps, and you can see here's a leaf here. There's one, that's one leaf there. That wrap's gonna go. And we got a second wrap and a third wrap, and each one of those are wraps that help to keep this sealed and cured. But this has all got to dry out, and there's a lot of soil on it right now. So my thought is, we'll let them sit out here since it's not going to rain during the daytime. At least it's not supposed to. Let them dry out some, and then I'll use Optimus, put them in the bucket, and then put them in the racks out there with the fans on like I talked about. But 24 hours of being out in the sun isn't going to harm them. We just don't want to bake them. I would not put them on top of the weed mats. The weed mats would get way too hot in the sun. So that would not work. So it's got to be a light color like this, the mulch here, sort of a tan mulch on this bed. So that won't conduct the heat to the bulbs, and therefore we should be in pretty good shape. Hopefully we continue with the breeze. You might be able to see a little bit of the tops of them, the leaves moving a little bit, but hopefully we'll get some more wind. We had one heck of a windstorm the other night, and boy, that was really something. So that's where we're at so far. Next phase, getting them out to the sugar shack and put them on their drying racks and get the windows open, get that air circulating out there for about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. We want to cure them, then we'll trim these down at that point. So we'll pick it up later. Well, it's 5 p.m. The garlic's been out in the on the strawberry handicap beds all afternoon, and so what I'm going to do now is start stacking the garlic on these portable drying racks. So I have a bunch of them I made here. Spaces in between. They all have little 2x2 raises, so it gives them 4 inches to go in between. And we'll put a fan on it, and I'll just stack them up, get them loaded somewhat, and I'll show you. Optimus Maximus here. So the only thing I did do was about an hour or two ago, I came out to these strawberry beds and I just cleaned off the dirt that was clumped close to the root base here on each one of the garlic. I didn't rub any of the material off of the garlic itself, and I'll leave all of this attached. It really started to dry out some, which is pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started bringing that in and stacking it on the rack in there. Here we go. Okay, I've got the garlic stacked on the various trays here, each one of the dehydrating trays, or drying trays rather. You can see the garlic. I think I mentioned going out and knock all the soil off of the mass of the roots. Got it all laying in one direction. They are somewhat stacked. The ventilation in this system seems to work extremely well. I can always rotate this around. It's on wheels, so I can move it around as necessary. This is the fan that we use to keep the circulation, have the windows open on both sides. There's some of our trays there and all. And so the air will blow through here, blow the leaves up on the other side, and it'll all dry out over the next 10 to 21 days, I guess, somewhere around there. Or we could even leave them there a bit longer. These are the same racks that I use for drying the beans. Thea came out and cleaned off the bean racks, and you've probably seen me go ahead and removing the hulls. I'll be doing more of that when time permits. But we got 3 garbage cans from the hoop trellis from last season. And I'm going to turn on the fan and get these starting to cure here. So these are our curing racks for garlic, for shallots, for beans, and whatever else we need to get managed. So that's it. Wow, this camera's always screwing up lately. That's it for today's video. Just wanted to show you the steps to harvesting, getting them set on their curing racks. They're going to be here probably 2 to 3 weeks, drying out. Then we'll go ahead, and I should have said this, cut off most of the root on here, cut it off about here, at this level here. The rest of all the material that's going to turn brown, all the green material, is going to be composted, and then these will go downstairs into the root cellar to be stored. And our root cellar, the humidity level is tightly controlled. So we have a section for let's say our potatoes that need a higher humidity, and the garlic and shallots that need or the garlic that need a lower humidity. The shallots actually do better, like in a crisper in your refrigerator door. That we get over a year's worth of storage with those, and we can really promote storage by curing these appropriately and storing them appropriately as well. So that's it for today's video. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And by all means, stay safe. Don't get too hot out here in these hot, muggy days. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye now.